Hello and welcome back to the third episode now of the Blitz Report UK NFL podcast. Callum, how are you doing? Coming off a big Broncos win on the weekend?
Yeah, buzzing with that. Absolutely buzzing. I'm sure we'll talk plenty about them. But yeah, no, I apologise for any getting carried away or any references to Super Bowl champions in this episode. I'm sure it will happen.
I'm sure you will talk plenty about them, yes. Um,
Definitely.
so not so much on the sort of headline side of things this week. It's going to be more of a review of the weekend program, but we're going to start off just with a couple of the headlines. The big one, I think, is Jamar Chase spitting supposedly on Jalen Ramsey. I mean, I think didn't he have a one-game suspension initially, and then appeal, and now it's supposedly going to go up to a three-game suspension.
Yeah, well, apparently he's appealing. I think.
Yeah,
I think I read that his side are the ones that are appealing.
the only
Um,
person to get more suspension after appealing something.
yeah, just you if you spat, just give it up. Just it's a weird one. Obviously, it's a weird thing to do. I understand that they're having a go at each other. But yeah, no, there's no benefit of that. I mean, if you're a Bengals fan, you're just even more just disappointed, really, aren't you? Like you just this season couldn't get any worse, could it? It's like it just it just couldn't. It is a season of nightmares when they had such good hopes coming into it, and yeah, no, I bet you'd be fuming.
Doesn't it seems a bit out of character really as well for Jamar Chase. You
Mm,
know, he's never been
yeah,
one to make the headlines for this sort of thing. He's usually making the headlines for, getting his incredible performances in. But
yeah,
Jalen Ramsey is a guy who can be provocative somewhat, so I'm sure something was said.
mm,
But spitting on him is not exactly acceptable. And then, fair enough to Ramsey for. I can't say I condone punching anybody, but um,
yeah.
if someone spits on you, I feel like it's probably somewhat valid reaction. Um, moving on to another team that's very much struggling, the Tennessee Titans, just having like the Bengals a nightmare season. Calvin Ridley coming back for his first game in 3 weeks, and on the very first play catches a 13-yard pass, I believe, and manages to break his fibula. Um, I think just sums up the Titans really at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean that is like everything you don't want. He's your only sort of experienced receiver. He's the one that hopefully you're looking for to a rookie quarterback, looking to target and try and make Cam's life easier. It's not. It's making it awful, really, because like he's now got probably Chimere DK, Ayamana, both rookies themselves. There's a very young Titans offense, and just exactly everything that they don't need and more. Um, I don't know where they go from here. Obviously into the draft and hoping to add maybe a weapon, maybe an O lineman. But yeah, no, that's exactly what you don't need for Ridley. And from Ridley's point of view, obviously you want to be playing football as much as you can while you got the chance, and that's not great at all, is it?
I mean, yeah, he's had a bit of a up and down time since leaving the Falcons, Calvin Ridley. What do you think they do with him? I mean, his trade value at the moment is going to be through the floor. I can't imagine anyone would particularly want to trade for him, but they gave up a decent amount of money to have him. Do you see them just cutting him, or do you see them trying to salvage anything for him? I mean, obviously the trade deadline's passed now, but yeah, what do you think they
Yeah.
do with him?
I think you just keep him on the books. To be honest, I think there's me personally. I think that just give him the time to come back and see. I mean, he's not exactly lit up the league this season, and but you never know if they can draft the receiver who's good enough to be a wide receiver one, if you like. If they trade down in the draft this year and go for a receiver, then it's probably he. I feel like Calvin Ridley probably has a part to play, whether that's as a receiver two or a receiver three. Um, I feel like I wouldn't. There's like you said, there's no trade value there, and I think that they should just try and play him. Wait until he's fit. hopefully comes back next season, and he if there's another guy around him, then should be fine.
Yeah, I think the Titans have just got to really, they're obviously in a rebuilding phase.
Mm.
I think they've got to give him I say give him a bit of a chance. I mean, I would argue he's kind of had his chance, and it's not necessarily his fault that it's gone the way it has. But I don't know. I would probably be more inclined to move on. I mean, you're not going to get anything in the trade market for him, so I'd say just save a bit of money, cut him, get him off the books, and try and pick up someone in the draft. Like you said, it looks like a pretty exciting receiver class coming up this year. Um, okay, on to the next point. Lane Johnson, the Eagles franchise right tackle, has been there 13 years now, I believe. Um, Struggled with injuries this year. I mean, he is 35, so it's not particularly surprising. He's injured he's got a Lisfranc injury. Believe somewhere around the ankle, lower leg sort of place.
Yeah.
And he's out for multiple weeks. At 35, there's got to come a point. They've had Jason Kelsey obviously retire in the last couple of years. Seems like it could sort of be heading that way, the way his career is going, but that'd be a big blow for the Eagles, I think, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Super Bowl champions. I feel like, yeah, once you've lost Kelsey, you ideally want to keep. I feel like with O lineman, experience is often key, and I feel like they would want to have him around, obviously. And problem is, you feel like you just got to see how he comes back and go from there, really. But yeah, no, it's obviously not ideal for him, and yeah, I hope he gets well soon.
Let's let's start with the review section of the program now. So, first game, surprisingly, on here we've got written about is the Broncos 22-19 win over the Kansas City Chiefs, a last minute win. Field goal from Will Lutz, I believe, wasn't it, to win it?
It was.
Um, yeah, just tell me your thoughts on the game as a Broncos fan.
Well, from a Broncos perspective, it was a great win. Obviously, we've not exactly had the best of records against the Chiefs in the last 10 years. I think I read that we've won one of 18 games, not against backups, which obviously we won 38-0 against them last year, but that was end of the season when they were trying to keep the players fit for the playoffs. Yeah, no, we were good. We were good. Sort of ironed out the cracks of the Raiders game that we played on last Thursday. Uh, yeah, no, offensively we looked sound, and without J.K. Dobbins as well, who's obviously a big miss. Did it without PS2 Pasatan, which is another big miss. No Alex Singleton as well, because he's well, they found testicular cancer in his when he was doing a drug test, which is incredible that he still played when waiting for the operation. But yeah, no, it was a really good win. Bo Nix played incredibly, even though he did no passing touchdowns. He threw for 295 yards and was another big driving factor in a winning late game drive. He's now had 8 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter, which is nuts considering his career's only been a year and a half. And yeah, he's definitely got a lot of potential. And if he can he set his feet up well, really well, in the game. And I feel like if he can continue to play like he does there and shows his qualities, he has potential to be a great quarterback in the league.
I feel like the stats don't really tell the full story with this one because I know we spoke about it before that Franklin had a few deep balls that potentially could have, bolstered both his and Bo Nix's stats a bit. Just looking though, I mean, we spoke a bit last week about J.K. Dobbins being out and how RJ Harvey would look to step into that role. I mean, not a particularly inspiring performance from Harvey. He had 30 rushing yards and I believe 20 receiving yards. And then on defense, I know you're missing a couple of guys, but I think there was only one sack on defense. But a win over the Chiefs is a win over the Chiefs, whether it be the 5-5 Chiefs or not. They're still Super Bowl runners up last year. Mahomes looked like he had pretty average game for most quarterbacks, pretty poor game by his standards. I think one big talking point for me was I know you feel quite strongly about these is the Riley Moss kind of PI epidemic. I
Mm.
think he's got the most in the league, but you weren't too sure on a few of them. It sounded like.
Well, to be fair, in terms of the season, he's had a couple where they've not been ones, but I think the stat was that in the Chiefs' three biggest plays for yardages, Riley Moss's two pass interference calls were in that top three. The other one was a 61-yard pass to Thornton. But yeah, the problem, I don't know what's going on really, because Riley Moss has qualities to be a great cornerback. He's quick, but he just seems to be attracting pass interference penalties. And obviously, if we're looking to go into the playoffs and push to get near a Super Bowl, that can be the whole difference. If all you've got to do is throw it long down towards Riley Moss, and you've got a reasonable chance, even if the ball's nowhere near. Like, I feel like we've got to sort that out. That's obviously down to right. And I know Riley Moss has said in interviews, he says he knows that that's what he needs to work on, and he's very, very well. He's a very good character to have. So as long as if he could just iron them out, he's still a good cornerback. But yeah, no, Jaquan McMillan played really well on defense in terms of he had two sacks, I believe, and also an interception, which is pretty impressive. Jade Barron had a pick six ruled back because of a Riley Moss penalty. Um, yeah, it was I think it was illegal contact down the field away from the pick, so it would have been a pick six with Jade Barron, obviously as a rookie. But yeah, strong defense in total, really. Um, but no, it was a good game, and yeah, it was nice to. On to think about RJ Harvey actually. He had 11 carries, but the rushes were in good, important times, in good areas. So he only got 11 carries in total. I feel like Peyton's still not too sure to use him, and we opted for more Jaleel McLaughlin, who's more of an explosive back, um, and he ended up scoring a touchdown. Um, I think he likes to use Harvey in a sort of, like we said last week, a sort of joker, sort of wild card role where he can be a receiving back as well as rushing. But he's shown qualities. RJ Harvey's just got to show more of it in the next games. But I'm sure he will. Obviously, Washington and Las Vegas coming up, so should be two good opportunities there.
And you spoke a minute ago about if they were to make a deep playoff run slash Super Bowl appearance. What do you think the ceiling is for the Broncos? I mean, I made it pretty clear last week having them as one of my out teams on our two in two out segment. And can I just say, both my out teams won and
Mm.
both my in teams lost. So, but I will say I still stand by all of them. Come the end of the season, I think they will come good. But for me, the ceiling for the Broncos is they're obviously going to make the playoffs. At the moment, I believe they're the number one seed, which would give them the automatic bye through to the divisional round.
Mm.
Um, so I guess in my mind, could they win in the divisional round? Yes. Um, so I guess in my mind, the ceiling for them is AFC Championship game, but I don't see them. I don't see them getting to the Super Bowl. I still just don't.
Yeah, well, it's a weird one really because you still have that feeling that the Bills and the Chiefs, and when it comes to playoffs, you still have that feeling that they're gonna show up, they're gonna be good. But as of yet, it's shown that we've got the potential. The Patriots have shown plenty of potential as well. Um, Another good young quarterback in Drake May, same draft class as Bo Nix, and the same draft class as Jane Daniels. So and Caleb Williams. So it's one of the best quarterback years and quarterback classes of recent years. Um, yeah, I'm not sure really where the ceiling actually is. I think the Athletic predict we've got a 98% chance of making the playoffs, so that's pretty much there or thereabouts. Two wins clear of the division, so that would give us clinch the division and automatically bring us into the playoff rounds on a home tie, which is important. Um, Number one seed at the moment. A few good fixtures coming up. Um, I don't know where the ceiling is. Obviously, hope the problem is we're missing J.K. Dobbins, and he's obviously a big part of the run game and a big part of our offense in general. Although we saw a lot more of Sutton, we saw a lot of Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant's one that I'm really excited about as a receiver. And yeah, hopefully we can just keep going. And if we play like we did on Sunday night, then we've got every chance of going a fair way, especially with the defense playing as good as what they do. And yeah, hopefully get as far as we can.
Okay, moving on, we're going to go to the Eagles Lions game. Another one of my teams I was in on losing. Again, the Eagles, I can't say they particularly impressed me. I mean, scoring 16 points, it's not exactly a high scoring game, not like some of the other ones we're about to review. But yeah, I just think that this game didn't really do either team any favors, to be honest. It kind of confirmed what I knew about the Eagles, that they were scraping by. They can beat pretty much anyone, but it's not going to be the prettiest. Um, and the Lions have kind of kept up their theme of inconsistency. They're scoring 1 week they're scoring 40 something points for fun, and then the next week they're scoring 9. Obviously the Eagles are a great defense, but yeah, just 66 rushing yards between Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. We've got written down here. Goff, 14 of 37, 255 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and Hurts throwing 50% completion rate, 14 of 28, 135 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. So really just honestly not a lot to dissect in terms of actual stats from the game or anything. I think it's just more about where both of these teams are and what do you think of both of them?
Yeah, it's disappointing about the Lions. Obviously, one of my teams that I said I was in on. I thought that game against Washington, they looked really good offensively, 500 plus yards. Dan Campbell calling the play calls as sort of a feel good factor around the team. But I mean, they tried what was it, 5 4th downs and didn't succeed on any of them, which obviously field position giving Philadelphia a chance, even though they didn't look to take much of it. Um, Jalen Hurts again. I mean, we can criticise them all they like, but they're churning out wins, and it's hard to. Obviously, when you play Philadelphia, you know it's going to be a defensive game. You know it's going to be a grind. You're going to have to try and wear them down. And I mean, Philadelphia are the best at it. They're really good, and really strong defensively. I mean, the Lions, I believe, it was only the 1 touchdown, um, and scored 9 points. So it was a bit like it was just a bit of a weird game, really. I just like you said, it's not really too much to really dissect. I mean, Saquon rushed for 80 yards, which which is better, and he's obviously I think I can speak for myself, but I think a lot of people want Saquon to do well. And when he's on form, he's incredible. Last year he played really well. But yeah, no, I think it was just a defensive game from both teams, and because Detroit defense isn't as bad as what people expect. Do they score a lot of points? But they're also that the reason why teams score a fair few points against them is because they're getting the ball back so often. They're given so many chances because Detroit keep constantly put up points. But yeah, an inconsistent team, and I don't really know what to say. Really, there's not really too much to go into. I'll just read in here. Both teams were in the 20% mark for 3rd down efficiency. Philadelphia at 26%, Detroit 23%. Just again, just not what you expect from two teams of this quality, but it just reinforces the idea that the defense is just incredible for both teams.
Yeah, for sure, and both a prediction that we both were wrong on, may I add as
Yeah.
well. We'll get to our prediction segment at the end of the show, and I don't actually know who's ahead or whether we're tied. I
Mm.
left Callum to sort that job. Okay, moving on to a slightly higher scoring game, the Bills 44-32 win over the Buccaneers. Um, Josh Allen, I think he is one of like 3 players I want to say to have 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing touchdowns in a game, and he's the only one to have done it twice, I believe. So obviously, just crazy impressive. 6 total touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but that's kind of something that's always crept into his game a little bit. Um, Yeah, really impressive from the Bills. I think they surprised me a bit. I don't know whether they did anyone else. Obviously, we know how good they are. I saw this week actually. Keon Coleman was a healthy scratch for them. I'm not too sure what that's about, but yeah, on the other side of the ball, Baker Mayfield, 16 of 28, 173 yards, one touchdown, one pick. Not the best game for him. Um, Bills 7-3 now. I mean, that puts them in a pretty good position up towards the top of the AFC, and the Bucks are 6-4, still top of their division. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this one? Quite an interesting one as well, I thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, I said last week that the Lions were the best team to watch in football, but Buffalo aren't too far behind. I mean, I think Josh Allen was just padding out stats in every single category. I mean, he had obviously the free pass and free rushing touchdowns, and he's just a good player to watch. I don't know, something about Josh Allen is he's inevitable. He'll always get there, and he's such a big player that he's a physical presence when rushing, which always makes it so hard. He's got a good O line that support him really well. Um, yeah, no, it's obviously it's two interceptions. You can read into that as much, but he threw well near on 66% completion rate with 317 yards. So I think the Bills won't care too much. Won by 12 points. Yeah, they've got obviously the Patriots are leading their division, so they've got a job on their hands to try and catch them up, which they could potentially do. Um, but if not, they go into the wild card and they'll go on the road to um, try and win their first in their wild card in the wild card rounds. But again, like we said earlier, or I said earlier, they're a team that you just feel will show up in the playoffs. Um, and they're a team. Well, I don't know. It feels like they're missing a receiving threat for me
I agree.
to be elite in terms of winning the Super Bowl. They've always had these struggles to actually get over the line, and I feel like if the problem is obviously they were looking for Jalen Waddle. If they had got the Jalen Waddle trade, that would have been incredible, and you'd probably put them in the conversation for Super Bowl contenders. They still are, but they wouldn't. They're not as strong in the list as what you'd hope. In terms of the Bucks, yeah, in terms of the Bucks, it was not a lot going, to be fair. Sean Tucker, 106 rushing yards. No, 106, yeah, 106 rushing yards, 34 receiving yards, and three touchdowns total. He he's been a good player, but like we've already spoken about with the Bucks, the injuries are key. Emeka Egbuka only had 40 yards, which we say only. He's a rookie receiver, but he's set that sort of standard so high. Um, the Bucks are just unfortunate. I'm not sure when players are coming back, when Bucky Irvin will be back available, but they could really do with someone back on offense I mean they still put up 32 points. Like there's no concern. And Baker Mayfield is still a good player. Um, but yeah, one of the stories I did like from the game was the Bills receiver Tyrell Shavers, who had a sort of breakout game. He was an undrafted receiver drafted in 2023. This is his second year with the Bills. He had 90 yards and a touchdown with a 43-yard reception as well. Love seeing stories like that. Something about an undrafted player coming in with a point to prove. And yeah, I know we said they need better receivers. Obviously, he could step up. Hopefully, if he could step up to play a part in that offense. But I still think they're a threat away. What about you?
I agree with you on the receiver. I really think it's kind of been a theme for the Bills the last few years. You know, despite how great they've been, they've just never really had that true out and out receiver. I think they thought they did for a while, but Keon Coleman hasn't really materialized. Like I said, he's a healthy scratch this week, which is just, for a first round pick from just a couple of years ago is not something you want to be hearing. I think a big thing with the Bills this year, um, obviously he's getting on a bit, but Joey Bosa has managed to stay healthy for the whole year, which is pretty much unheard of for him. And he's still got that sort of that quality, that top quality, and I don't think they've really they just need as many pieces as they can to push them over that line, and I think a receiver would be one of those. But someone like Joey Bosa brings a lot of experience, not necessarily high level playoff experience, but just having someone like that, a veteran who at times has been one of the best edge rushers in the league. He's a great sort of guy to have around for production reasons and obviously for sort of mentorship as well. But moving on to our final game that we're gonna touch on is the Jags 35-6 win over the Chargers. I don't think anyone
Mm.
saw this coming. I mean, yeah, you had the Jags as one of your out teams. I was never particularly kind of sold on the Jags, and I could have put them as one of my out teams, but for me they weren't even like close enough to being contenders, you know. Um, Whereas the Chargers would have been like I would have had the Chargers pinned as a better team than the Jags. Um, but something something just flicked, and Trevor Lawrence played like only 153, one touchdown and one pick. I mean, it's not a spectacular game, but they put up 35 points. Like
Mm.
it's hard to argue with that. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, the Jaguars rushing game just took the Chargers and caught them off guard. I mean, the they had three rushing receive what I'm saying running backs with over 40 yards each, and I think they shared three touchdowns between Travis Etienne and Bayshore Tutin, and it's just like I don't know. The Chargers are a weird team. They will look really good sometimes and really bad sometimes. And I said last week that they're not as good a team as what people sort of think they are. Um, they've obviously got qualities, and Justin Herbert, when on his day, is an incredible player. But I mean, on Sunday he had 81 passing yards and an interception in the whole game. Like
Yeah,
I don't know. Obviously, we mentioned as well the O line for the Chargers, which was ranked quite lowly according to I think it's PFF, but
that's a
yeah.
bit of an understatement.
Yeah, lowly, yeah, is an understatement. They're yeah, I just don't really again, another one where 35-6 is a big margin. Um and the Jags obviously was a team. I feel like it was a pretty sort of typical Trevor Lawrence performance, touchdown, sort of 150 yards passing. And yeah, a good win for the Jags obviously, but still something not quite there in terms of both teams. Jacoby Myers, I think, but just over 60 yards receiving, which is solid. Obviously, recent trade arrival from Las Vegas, but yeah, no, it was and like yeah, like you said, it was one of my out teams, which I hold my hands up. I got that really wrong in terms of that result, and
Both my out teams are 9-2, just to say,
yeah,
so
it's true,
don't feel
it's
too
true.
bad about it.
No, but no, it's impressive from the Jags, and the run game was crucial for them, and well, they keep on moving now. So they've got, I believe they've got a couple tough fixtures coming up. But if they can weather the storm and make the playoffs, then you know, anything's possible for them, really.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me this game just kind of highlights a theme of the season, really. That for me they're just one, the season is very wide open, and I don't
Mm.
think any teams are particularly ahead of anyone else. You know, we've seen the Eagles, the Chiefs, the sort of the Bills, the teams that you would think would be up there all the time, and the Ravens even as well. We've seen them struggle massively. We've seen new teams come through, like the Broncos. I know the Broncos were good last year, but no one expected them to be 9-2. And the Patriots, the Colts. I mean, it feels so wide open this year because to me, none of those three teams feel of Super Bowl quality yet. Not to say they can't be in the future. So that's one thing. And two, just quarterback performances. I feel like every week we talk about these big games, and the quarterbacks will have 120 yards, one touchdown, one pick. It feels really uninspiring from the quarterbacks this year. I don't, apart from everyone, maybe Josh Allen just kind of stole all their touchdowns. I don't know. But outside of like Josh Allen, Matt Stafford, I mean, we've been hyping up Sam Darnold, and he had four interceptions. Let me
Mm.
got his stat line up here. Yeah, 29 to 44, 279 yards. Sounds great. Zero touchdowns, four picks. Um, just something in the air this year. I don't think
Mm.
anyone
That's,
outside of really Matt Stafford and maybe kind of Drake May and those sort of guys. Feels like every week the majority of the quarterback performances are just pretty average, and I think
yeah.
that lends itself to the openness of the whole league. Um, but I just think it's been a really interesting season. Like I said, teams you wouldn't expect. Like even up here, we got the 7-3 Seahawks. I think people thought the Seahawks were going to be good,
Mm.
not necessarily that good. Jackson Smith and Jibka has been incredible. We've spoken a lot about him, but yeah, I mean, have you got anything to add to that? Just the openness of the league, really, and
Mm.
the poor quarterback showing.
Yeah, it's hard to know who's actually good.
Mhm.
Obviously we're now over halfway, and we're still not really sure who the good teams and who the bad teams are. And just on the quarterbacks, um, I think a lot of it is to do with the new sort of kickoff routine where teams are starting 15, 20 yards further forward than what they would be normally. And that obviously then that's 15 yards of drive that a quarterback loses out on in terms of their stats as a passer. So that's probably part of the reason why the sort of the yard sort of count on all the players is an issue is lower. Um, but yeah, obviously the points are higher. The hot points are still staying high. It's just the stats of the players are getting low, which is obviously down towards mainly the kickoffs and more teams going for it. And it feels like the punt and kick returns are crucial now. They're a big deciding factor whether you're going to win the game or lose the game. In the Chicago Minnesota game, the Bears and the Vikings. Can't remember the name of the returner who returned it to about halfway. The Bears were able to make one or two plays and then kick it through for a field goal win. And it feels like that's definitely becoming more, special teams is becoming more important to get it right and get into the right areas. But yeah, no. So just briefly, well, just to end off today's episode, we did our predictions in our last episode, and I've got the points tally here. We said we were gonna keep a tally and see who wins by the end of the
This did not
season.
go well.
Uh, it didn't, and the scores ended up well. We can go through it. So we both predicted the Patriots to beat the Jets. No prizes for that one. We both said Washington against Miami,
Yeah.
which um, we got wrong. Said the Falcons to beat the Panthers, which also got wrong. Bryce Young played incredibly. That wasn't what was
Yeah, great game from
expected.
him.
Like I thought,
Sorry,
yeah, it was.
shout out to him. He didn't have a bad quarterback performance, and neither did Jacoby Brissett, who completed the most
Yes,
passes in an NFL game ever. Shout out to him,
yeah,
47 completions in a game.
yeah,
Still two picks, but you know,
yeah, and that was all in a pretty big deficit against the 49ers. Um,
Mhm.
what was it, 19 points difference off the top of
Yeah.
my head, if this is correct. That's yeah, it's still it's interesting, but yeah, Jacoby Brissett's breaking records. Um, we then got Tampa Bay and Buffalo. We obviously predicted right. You went on a good run here, actually. You had Chicago to beat the Vikings. I changed to the Vikings last minute to keep it interesting. They then Chicago won. Houston beat the Titans. They are the Texans. Beat the Titans. Yeah, that was again pretty simple. Got Green Bay beating the Giants. Pittsburgh beating the Bengals. Then we got on a losing run here of the Chargers getting beaten obviously by the Jaguars. Got Seattle getting beaten by the Rams, which we obviously said that the Seahawks is going to win that one. Baltimore beat Cleveland, which we both had. I then got a point of my own in the Kansas City Denver game.
Yeah.
So got the Philadelphia Detroit one wrong, but we did get the Dallas one right. So that makes the points 7-7.
Oh,
Um,
really?
Going into next week, we'll obviously do another prediction round in the next episode. Um, that Cowboys Raiders one was an interesting one. The Raiders just look at a bad team. Just
Mhm.
briefly touching on that, and well, I thought it was interesting, quite funny actually, when both George Pickens and CD Lamb had to sit out the first drive of the game as a disciplinary.
Yeah.
So you wonder what sort of hangover themed activities they were up to the night before in Las Vegas. To be honest, they're probably at the casino. But yeah, no,
I mean, it
that's
would be
quite a funny story.
you bring in George Pickens, and things are always going to get a bit interesting, really.
Yeah.
But just touching on Pickens, he had 9 receptions,
Mm.
144 yards,
Yeah.
and a touchdown. So I don't think he would have been too hungover, whatever he was doing. And just to make me look stupid again, Dak Prescott had 268 yards and 4 touchdowns. So scrap what I said about the bad quarterback performance. No, I stand by it. I stand by it. But
Yeah.
and your favorite Javonte Williams had another really good game. 22
Yeah.
carries
Yeah.
for 93 yards. Um, yeah, 33-16, pretty convincing win.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, Pickens seemed like he was okay. He didn't seem
Yeah.
too rattled by whatever had
Yeah.
happened the night before. And
No.
CD Lamb 5 receptions for 66 yards and a touchdown as well. So
Still not bad.
whatever
Yeah.
they were up to, it didn't affect them too badly. And I think we'll leave it there for this week, the third episode of the Blitz Report UK NFL podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time with more NFL talk, more stories, and previews for this upcoming weekend of games. Thanks for watching.